Welcome back, everybody, to All Things Rangers this week, even though it's going to be very light on the Rangers this week. So we want to welcome you in. I am Marc Williams, your host, and I am joined by the one and only Mr. John Filkowski.
Can I still say Adam Fox or Norris?
Yeah, you still be able. It's a regular season award. It was still in the regular season. All right. And the man who is glowing after his video about Ilya Sorokin, Mr. Anthony Larocco.
The white whale has arrived, fellas. He's arrived.
Isn't the white whale more about obsession?
They coined him with that nickname for a while because it's like supposedly it's like you refer to someone like who doesn't really exist as that, but like he's talked about, you know.
Oh, okay. All right, I get it now. I get it.
It's an obsession then.
Yeah, it's Moby Dick reference, but you know. All right. Well, first, thank you everybody that's been subscribing and joining us. Our page has been growing plentiful over the last month. Keep watching, keep liking, keep recommending. We are going to be in for a name change in the future, but that'll be a topic for a later video and something to look out for, and big news on the way for us. Although all the news this week goes to Mr. Larocco's New York Islanders. You saw Game 1 last week. I clicked on the wrong one. Game 2. And the second overtime winner, which happened last night. But first, we had Game 3, where the Penguins won 5-4. Jeff Carter had a pair of goals. Chris Letang showed up for once. I know I got ripped about that in the comment section, but you know what? He wasn't doing anything for 2 years of the playoffs. You can tell, you can rip a guy when he doesn't do that, and he's a Norris Trophy winner. All chaos ensued. We're going to have a lot to break down about that game. Then the Islanders switched goaltenders, Ilya Sorokin, and won 4-1. The shutout was avoided by, it was Zach Aston-Reese that scored it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And then last night, Penguins go up 1-0, 2-1. Ilya Sorokin keeps them at bay. And then this happens. Oops, that should have started. It did not. Yeah.
All the way back, it goes by, and Billy Morgan. And again, down to Tristian Jarry. Steal. Josh Bailey scores! Josh Bailey with the
Okay. So one thing we talked about in our text messages between us was it's amazing to me the Islanders scout Tristian Jarry to say, well, if you fan on the first shot, you're going to score on the second one. Josh Bailey missed the puck. Same thing with Jordan Eberle. They both scored. And, well, for the breakdown of this, as the Islanders take a 3-2 series lead, we will turn it over to our resident Islander expert.
Well, before I gotta get into breaking down the games, especially starting with Game 3, I made that video saying that Barry Trotz needed to make the change to Ilya Sorokin. After that first game he played in Game 1 where he made the 38-39 saves where he essentially won the Islanders the game in the second period. Going back to Varlarmov I thought was an odd decision, despite Varlarmov being the guy during the year because Sorokin had played so well in Game 1. Game 2, Varlarmov settled in after a horrid first goal. But Game 3, Trotz rolled him back out there, and he was really off. He was bad. He was real bad. And thankfully, Trotz came to his senses and switched to Sorokin. And now, since then, the momentum has shifted, and Sorokin kind of changed the course of the series. But starting with Game 3, that was a game where the Islanders scored 4 goals. Barry Trotz said after Game 3 that it was kind of a dig at Varlarmov a little bit. When you score 4 goals, you really should win the game. You find a way to win. And they didn't do that, mostly because Varlarmov was off his game. The Islanders came back twice in that third period to tie the game. They had the momentum, they were home, the crowd's buzzing, and then each time after they tied it, Pittsburgh responded with a goal. Some of the goals weren't bad, but also, too, sometimes your goalie needs to make a timely save, stop the shots. Varlarmov didn't do that, and the Islanders ended up losing the game. So that, when you look back on it now after what transpired the last 2 games, if Trotz would have either simply started Sorokin, or at the very least gave Varlarmov the yank after that 3rd goal in Game 3, this series is over. Because Sorokin, probably with the way he's playing, he wouldn't have allowed 5 goals. 4 goals would have been enough for the Islanders to win. And now the series is over. But, it's in the past. They have the series lead now anyway, which we'll get to in the next 2 games. But it could have been over. It could have been over, and unfortunately it's not. But, again, the Islanders now up 3-2, going back to the Coliseum. Going back to that Game 3, though, it did get chippy. The Islanders kind of started to impose a physical style of hockey on the Penguins. We saw it with that crazy scrum where all 5 guys went into the penalty box. So that's the type of brand that I feel like the Islanders need to play, especially at home against Pittsburgh. Because when they're hard on Pittsburgh and play physical like that, Pittsburgh has guys like Tanev that can play that style. But other than that, the Penguins don't really prefer to play that style of hockey. So I noticed the tide in that game started to sway after the Islanders really started getting after Pittsburgh physically. After they tied the game on that Beuvillier power play goal after that scrum, because they ended up with a man advantage from that. But overall, I thought that was a game that the Islanders could have won, and unfortunately they didn't get the goaltending. Now, going into Game 4, Trotz did make the switch to Sorokin. The Islanders were at home, and so far, out of all the games in the series, that Game 4 was probably the best the Islanders played. Pittsburgh didn't really mount much. I mean, they did have 30 shots on goal, so they got a decent amount at the net, but the Islanders controlled that game really from puck drop to the final horn. They were all over the Penguins. They played fast, they played physical, they had good defense, they got the timely goals when they needed it to. Like we always said, the Islanders getting the first goal in this series is big. It's big for them. It increases their chances of winning the game by a lot. And what do you know? They got the first goal, and they ended up winning the game. Pullock chipped in with a big second goal. I think that goal was huge. And then the 2 goals on the power play, 24 seconds apart. Those were big. You had the goal. Wahlstrom let one rip. Teddy Bluger inadvertently put it in the net trying to get the rebound.
Teddy Bluger must have had money on the Islanders. Yeah. He's like, all right, this will help us get to the over.
Well, you know what it is. Wahlstrom shoots the puck so hard, and it hit Jarry, and I think Bluger came out so fast. Bluger was just trying to get rid of it. I just think with it, the rebound carrying off of Jarry and Bluger trying to act fast, it just was a disaster. It's just spelled for the Penguins on that one.
The only one I've seen worse than that, I have to add, is the 96 conference finals with Paul Coffey, that he just put the puck. It was a pass in front. He just put it right into his own net. Bullseye.
I thought you were going to say, I don't remember the year, but
Steve Smith?
It was Nicholas Backstrom. The Capitals. It was against the Penguins, oddly enough. I guess to this day when I watch the video, I'm still trying to think what the hell he was doing, but I guess he was just trying to shoot the puck into the corner, and it rolled off wrong on his stick, and he ended up shooting it into the net.
He shot directly, and it looks like
directly in the net. That was the worst one for me, but anyway. 24 seconds later, Jordan Eberle responded, 4th goal, and that was really just the icing on the cake at that point. Sorokin was solid in net, lost the shutout with, like you referenced, a minute and change left in the game. And then into the all-important Game 5, this going back to Pittsburgh. I felt Pittsburgh needed this game more than the Islanders, in my opinion. And it showed. They came out, they were all over the Islanders. I think in the second period, they outshot the Islanders 20-2 or something like that. I don't know what the final count was, but they just swarmed Sorokin. He did let in that one in the second. But after that, he just shut the door, and he gave the Islanders the confidence that they needed to win the game. Because in the locker room, they were saying how, after they realized Sorokin gave us an opportunity to win this game, we're still in it because of him, and they slowly got to their game. I thought the third period, they started to carry the play, and then the first overtime I thought was a pretty good period for the Islanders too. But again, it wouldn't have even got that far if it wasn't for Sorokin's play. As far as the Penguins go, we kind of talked about it in the text a little bit, some of the goals. Beuvillier was a good individual effort. I know Filk was saying Jarry probably should have came up with a save, but he didn't. And that goal was big because Beuvillier scored that goal with a minute a minute left to play in the period. So that kind of gave the Islanders life, tied the game at 1. And then the Eberle goal, Jarry was just kind of like, I don't know what he was doing there. I know Komarov sent the pass across the crease, and he like dove. I don't know if he anticipated Eberle like shooting right away, and he was out of position, so he just tried to sprawl over. But I mean, either way, even with Barzal fanning on the first attempt, it was still an easy goal for him to put in once he got recollected himself. And from that, I kind of, me personally, when they tied the game at 2, that's when I felt like, holy shit, the Islanders actually might win this game despite getting outshot by a lot. And then from there, I thought that's when the Islanders started to take the play away from Pittsburgh. And then again, Jarry made a poor decision. I think he felt pressured from Beuvillier coming up the middle, trying to get to it. And I don't know if Eberle got a piece of it that maybe slowed it down a little bit, but either way, Jarry made a poor decision, goes right to Josh Bailey. Again, he fans on it with a little pressure from behind, but thankfully enough for him, he was able to regain it enough to put it in. But my God, man, that was a crazy game. It really was a crazy game. A lot of emotional ups and downs. I thought that, the Islanders kind of, well, I guess the saying is good teams find a way to win hockey games, and they found a way to win thanks to their goaltender and just getting back to their style of play. But, now it's in their hands. Game 6, the Coliseum's increasing capacity tomorrow from 6,800 to, they didn't say what the amount's going to be, but it's going up. Place is going to be crazy. They're going to be jacked up from, the Game 5 performance with Sorokin. It's just going to be a perfect storm. So honestly, I think all the Islanders need to do here, get the early lead, let the crowd just become more intense and into the game. And I think if they get a multiple, let's say they get a 2-0 lead early, or even like a 3-1 lead, Pittsburgh might fold at that point. So, but they need to get the early lead and get on Pittsburgh and kind of give the fatal blow, step on their necks here, and kind of try to finish them. Because while they have won 2 out of 3 in Pittsburgh, which is impressive, you don't want to go back to Pittsburgh for a Game 7 if you don't have to. So this is their chance here to close it out tomorrow. But still a lot of areas they can clean up. Like I said, they can clean up their defensive zone scheme. They're making a lot of uncharacteristic turnovers. But give credit to Pittsburgh. They're also pressuring them into those. But so clean up that, and then just get more, keep putting pucks at the net with Jarry, because as he's shown, you never know what he could let in. So get pucks at the net. And I'm confident that if they get that early lead, Sorokin's going to shut the door on them again. So we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Everyone, that's what's called a comprehensive analysis. That was 13 minutes of Islanders talk. Filk, go right ahead.
I mean, I don't know what else there really is to say after that. I'll start by saying that there's no way that Pittsburgh wins the series after that. There's just no way. I mean, that was the best effort they had put together all series. That was their best game, and their goaltender just blew it for them. And that's why I said the Islanders had the advantage in this series, is because Tristian Jarry is a dumpster fire of a goaltender. He's not good. When you have a guy that's trying to make glove side saves with his blocker and doing stupid things like that, you don't stand a chance in this series, no matter who you have in front of him. And the scary part is that I underestimated Pittsburgh's depth. Jeff Carter has really, really been an absolute driving force for that team, because Pelech and Pullock have done a number on Crosby. Let's put that out there right now. He's
got 2 points.
He's 2 points in the entire series. So I mean he's been neutralized for the most part. Evgeny Malkin just came back, and he's got a couple of points, but he hasn't looked like the Evgeny Malkin that we've seen in the past. I mean, Brian Rust and Jeff Carter have been their 2 best forwards. And I would even say that Sorokin shouldn't have let in Brian Rust's goal last night. I didn't think that was a great goal for him to let up. But Ilya Sorokin definitely was the difference for the Islanders. I'll say that. He played well. He played very well. But the difference in the game is Tristian Jarry. And you cannot have goalies letting up goals like the first goal and the third goal. I know that it's a good individual play by Beuvillier to get that chance, but that shot has to be stopped. That's not a world-class shot. That's not some Alex Ovechkin corner-seeking, twine-labeled piss missile of a shot. That's a shot that a NHL goaltender should be able to stop, and the better ones do stop those shots. So as a goalie, you got to be able to pick your team up when your team makes mistakes. And I've said it. Chris Letang has been mediocre at best in this series. I know he has a few points, but that doesn't excuse his bad defensive play. And I thought Brian Dumoulin has been kind of meh, too. I don't want to say bad, because he's been all right. But for a top pairing defenseman, and one who has played as well as he has in the past, it's not good enough. So I don't see Pittsburgh winning this series. It's funny because I said that after Game 5, the Islanders would be up 3-2 in the series, but just not the way that it happened. I didn't see Pittsburgh winning Game 3 and then losing the next two. I saw the Islanders winning Game 3, losing Game 4, winning Game 5. It's funny the way these things work. So, but the Islanders have shown an ability to play a game that they really didn't want to play in a track meet. And they stayed in there. They didn't win some of those games, but they stayed in there. That's really important. But Pittsburgh, if they have any chance, they have to come back the next game, and they have to be mistake-free. Because if they make that first mistake, Barry Trotz's Islanders are going to step right on the Penguins' throats, and they're going to end this series at the Coliseum. So I think we're seeing the Islanders move on after Game 6.
Yeah, as soon as that overtime goal was scored, I couldn't help but I turned to somebody and said, I guess they saw the groundhog and 2 more weeks of Islanders. First, by the way, addressing this comment right here, does Pittsburgh need to go to Casey DeSmith?
He's hurt.
He's hurt. Yeah, that's right. But
I wouldn't even either. He's not any better than Jarry. I mean,
like I said, I broke them down when I looked at those numbers, and all the numbers said Pittsburgh goaltending got better against the Islanders. Eye test shows, oh my God, no. And Anthony, bad decisions. Bad decisions. That Jarry was trying to make was on the level of maybe I should get back together with my ex for the 3rd time. No, it's not a decision you should make. First off, we'll tell the defensemen don't fire the puck up the middle unless you know you can make that pass. He's a goaltender. What I love about goaltenders, by the way, and this is a very generalized statement, but it's also specific about to stick handling goaltenders. You're the ones that go, look at me, I can handle the puck. You're not that good. That's the great thing. And there's a lot of forwards, me especially, that used to feast on goalies that used to do that. Because they would come out of the net thinking they can handle the puck. You're the first forward, you pressure them. They make a bad pass. Second forward takes the puck. That's a goal. It's just that simple. Occasionally, you need the third forward. And Tristian Jarry is no Marty Brodeur. And Marty Brodeur was prone to giving away the puck plenty of times. So again, Tristian Jarry, what the hell were you thinking? Seriously. I know I'm not in the NHL, but I wouldn't have made that decision. All right. So again, I'll skip what have we learned so far to ask this question. What's surprising you right now? And it's Filk. I'm going to start with you.
I have to say the Penguins' depth really. I'm shocked by what they're getting from that bottom 6. It's not a terrible one, but it's not a great one either. Jeff Carter has arguably been the best Penguin in the entire series.
I don't think it's an argument.
I couldn't believe that he came in and he's played the way that he has. So I would say that. I don't know what else to say otherwise. He's really been a force. He's created offense from that third line and given them a third scoring line. And the Islanders have really had a lot of trouble with his line. So that's definitely surprising me from Pittsburgh's perspective. From the Islanders, it's probably Ilya Sorokin and how good he's actually been between the. He's come in and he's played very, very well for someone who doesn't have any NHL playoff experience. So, good on him to come in and be able to just shut that attack down because he faced, almost 40 shots last night?
50.
Oh, 50, sorry.
50. Yeah.
Shot count there for a second. But, yeah. So, I mean, to be able to face that many shots and let up only the amount of goals that he did, 2 goals? Just that's incredible, actually. So good on Ilya Sorokin to come in and really be the answer for the Islanders, because you know that Semyon Varlarmov wasn't going to be that answer the way that he's looked lately.
Anthony.
I guess what surprised me so far, I would say, is that that as good as Pelech and Pullock have been shutting down Crosby, the last couple of games, I thought that Scott Mayfield was one of the better Islander defensemen. I mean, he's chipping in with his points, and he's also doing a lot to help shut down Malkin and the Penguins' second line. He's made a couple of bad passes, him and Letty as a pair, but individually, for the most part, though, he's done a really good job. He's limiting their time and space. He's being heavy in front of the net. Of course, he's blocking shots. That's something he always does. But the fact that he's adding offense on top of that for a guy who's not known for his offense, that's good. And that's the type of player that you need to kind of step up in the playoffs to help the team, advance and go further, getting, more support defensively and offensively for that matter. So I would say he surprised me. And then also I would say from the Penguins side of things, what's surprising me is that, it's not Crosby, Malkin, Gensel, or Rust really who's hurting the Islanders when Pittsburgh is having success. It's like Brandon Tanev and Jeff Carter. So, kudos to them stepping up. Because if it weren't for that, the top guys aren't going, and they weren't either, the series would have been over. So that's kind of what surprised me from both sides so far.
I'm going to go quick. I'm going to agree with you. Scott Mayfield, definitely, for the Islanders. 4 points. Did he get one last night?
He might.
I forgot.
He might have had an assist, actually. I'm not.
Okay, then that makes him 5 points. So, I mean, Scott Mayfield, really? he's got more points than Matt Barzal, who's got 2.
He's got more points than Crosby.
That's more points than both of them combined.
Yeah.
And
no, sorry, it was Letty that assisted on Beuvillier goal. I thought it was Mayfield. So.
All right, then in that case, he still has equal points to Sidney Crosby and Matt Barzal combined. So for the Penguins, just again, Malkin, where is he? And again, I've ripped Crystal Tang last week, but I'll start with the disappointing guy, and my disappointing guy is Jake Gensel. You are non-existent in this series. I mean, Brian Rust has got 2 goals. I mean, granted, one of them was a gift from Semyon Varlamov, but still, I mean, Semyon was probably thinking, the Mets need a second baseman right now. I could go play with them. I mean, no. First off, he might be able to play second for the Mets with the amount of injuries they've been getting. But Jake Gensel is nowhere to be found. He's got a couple shots on net. Good for you. I think we're all going to say the same guy for the Islanders, and that's Barzal. I can't believe how much of a non-factor he is. So, Anthony, you're up next. Who's disappointing?
Oh, for the Islanders, I mean, I got to go with Barzal too. He's got 3 assists in 5 games, which, I mean, let's face it, he should have more. But the positive side to that is, though, despite the Islanders' best offensive player not really going like he should be, they're still up in a series and scoring goals. So that is encouraging. But overall, though, Barzal individually has been a little disappointing. In Game 4, he had 2 back-to-back sequences. He had a lot of chances to shoot. I remember Bush and Eddie O saying that Barzal's got to shoot that puck, and he didn't. I think Barzal sometimes tries to get too cute, looks for that perfect seam pass or that perfect play. And I get the creativity he's trying to show, but at the same time, you got to shoot the puck. When you're in a prime scoring area, shoot the puck. Don't be so unselfish. Shoot. And then it was referenced actually after Pullock's goal, because that was created because Wahlstrom came down the right side, and even though he wasn't in a great scoring position, he threw the puck at the net. And what do you know happens? Jarry kicks out a rebound. Goes to Nelson. He kind of gives a little touch, lets it go to Pullock, and Pullock scores. And they made the reference how Wahlstrom shot the puck at the net, and that's what Barzal has to do. So good things happen when you do. So he needs to shoot, and he needs to step his game up. For Pittsburgh, I mean, you said Gensel. I mean, I kind of have to agree with that. He's been non-existent. And for a guy who plays with Crosby, you would think that he would produce more. But then again, Crosby isn't really doing that much himself either. So I guess you can kind of give the correlation there. But Gensel, he's a small player, and I don't know if he's kind of just wilting with, not getting involved with the physical play of the Islanders and then being hard on him. But yeah, he hasn't shown up. For an Islander fan, that's great, but for a Penguin fan, I mean, you got to be infuriated at that.
Filk.
From Pittsburgh, I know we bashed him before, but I've got to say Letang. He's been bad. He's a Norris caliber defenseman, but he is not somebody who's playing like a Norris caliber defenseman. He's been just bad. I mean, his pinches have just been moronic. I'm trying to think of the right words to describe what he's doing. I don't, as someone who's played defense for a long time, I don't understand the thought process sometimes of what he's doing and why he's doing it in those certain spots. And it's led to a lot of odd man runs against the Islanders. Funny enough, I mean, if they would have capitalized on some of those miscues by him, on more of them, I should say, this is probably looking like a different series. Maybe the Islanders are looking to sweep them. Who knows? But Christopher Letang has just been really bad for Pittsburgh. He's got to start playing better. He's got to come back with one of the better games of his career in Game 6. To push.
I'll interrupt, John. Remember what you said in our text. I mean, Gensel was the guy that was back against Beuvillier. Dumoulin and Letang were nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. I don't know what they were doing there. I really don't. So, for him. And then for the Islanders, it's not an actual player. It's a concept of what's going on. Why is Leo Komarov still on the Islanders' first line? I mean, Anthony, you just mentioned it before. Barzal's not going. You're getting so production from Ellie. Not bad, but not great either. And you know what? I don't understand it. You can unlock the potential in your first line, but you put a third, fourth line player, I would say fourth line player at this point. You continue to put him on your first line? I don't understand it. I really don't. And I don't want to hear he makes them better defensively. He's not that type of player. He's not good enough to make that trio better defensively. Yeah, he's smart defensively. Okay. But he's not Patrice Bergeron.
More like Fredo.
There and being a two-way force. He's not. So get Komarov off your first line, and you might get more production out of your star player.
Yeah. So, gonna go right to Anthony on this one first. Who needs to step up in Game 6?
Well, I hate to keep going, but I gotta go Barzal again. Barzal's got to get going. If anything, just to start feeling good about if they advance, going into the next round against Boston and get some good juju here. He needs to get going because they could at this rate they could still win tomorrow with him playing at the rate he's going. But going forward to be sustainable, he needs to step up. I think that's something that will just help him, his confidence, and the Islanders going forward. Because right now, center-wise, Brock Nelson, Pajot, and Cizikas are doing all the heavy lifting. And before I get to Pittsburgh side of it, I just want to point out, as John referenced, how important Nelson was going to be this series. And my God, I know he's just been really good against Crosby. I know he scored the goal in Game 1, but it's not just the offense. He's playing really well. He's game 3. Game 4. It was Bailey's. It was when he passed to Bailey. He kind of was battling with Crosby behind the net. He outworked him. He got the puck loose and he passed to Bailey in front, and Bailey scored. That's the type of play that you need for this time of year, especially to do it on a guy like Crosby. He's staying on him. He's playing well defensively, and he's also getting in the Penguins' heads. After on that goal I was describing, afterward, I guess Letang was bitching about Beuvillier bumping into Jarry, but that was because he pushed him in. But Nelson came through the crease and kind of just like gave Letang a shove, and then Letang started yelling. It's little things like that getting him off his game. He's just doing the little things right. But as far as Pittsburgh, I mean, you got to go with their best player. You got to go Crosby. 1 point in the 2018-2019 series. So far, he's only got 2 now. If the Penguins want to win the next 2 games, he really needs to get going and be the Crosby that he's known for. Because if he doesn't, the Penguins are going to be done again, and they're going to have to make some decisions in the offseason, whether it's not to totally retool this team. But yeah, he's got to step up. I know Pelech and Pullock, like John said, are making his life easy, but he's got to find a way to prevail here.
Filk.
Well, the Pittsburgh one was going to be Crosby. And the reason is that the great ones step up and play their greatest in the big moments. Wayne Gretzky, Game 7, 1993, Campbell Conference Finals. What did he do? Played the best game of his career. By his words, 3 goals and an assist. And got the Kings to the Stanley Cup Finals to face Montreal. Sidney Crosby needs that type of signature game in this Game 6 here to force Game 7. Because if he doesn't, Anthony said, they're going home, and you're going to start hearing those, will Evgeny Malkin be traded rumors again? Because, it seems like it happens every time that they lose, but I think there's going to be a little more legitimacy to it this time around. There might be more, there might be the fire to where the smoke is this time. So, for them, Crosby's got to step up. I know that he doesn't have the greatest line mates, but as I've said in the past, he always seems to play better with lesser line mates, like a Pascal Dupuis or Chris Kunitz or whoever. That's what he does. Jake Gensel has got to get into this series too. He's milk carton status right now. So, for the sake of not saying Anthony's answer, I'm going to say Jake Gensel, and I have a feeling it was probably your answer for Pittsburgh, Mark. So, I'm sorry.
I already used him for disappointing. My answer was going to be a hat trick and make a Crosby.
Well, yeah, Jake Gensel's been milk carton status. So, he really needs to get on the board as well. For the Islanders, I've got to say Barzal. It's, again, star player, best player. He needs to have that type of moment. I'm not going to say that he's a bad player or anything, but I don't think I've ever really seen Barzal have that type of moment in his career. If he wants to start, building on a legacy and showing that he is the real deal, then he needs to come out in Game 6 and he needs to really put the stranglehold on Pittsburgh and put them out. I would like to see Barry Trotz take Leo Komarov off that first line and actually give them a third player that can really skate and facilitate some offense. I don't think it's going to happen because, like Anthony said, that they're winning despite that. But Matt Barzal's got to step up in this next game, and they've got to close Pittsburgh out because if he gets to 7, all bets are off.
So again, Sidney Crosby. So to make it all 3 of us calling him out right now, you're one of the. I think I said before I have him 6th best player of all time. That'll be a debate for a later day with these videos, but it's that's where I securely put him. I just think he's that great. If you're going to be that great, you got to step the hell up. This is another series where the Penguins seem they're whimpering out. And don't forget that 2014 comeback against the Rangers that looms on your record as well. Granted, the 2 Stanley Cups after that and 2 Conn Smites sort of ease that. For the Islanders, when you have the lead in the series, when you're going home, the guys I'm saying to step up, the identity line. That first shift, hit anything that moves. Make those boards rock, and you're going to get the crowd into it really early, and they're going to be already in it, drunk. If I was there, I'd be hammered too. So it's just, come on, that's what you got to do. Get the crowd into it, get everybody's adrenaline going, get your teammates' adrenaline going, and then next thing you know, puck's in the back of the net. So, boys, closing out this segment, and I know we ran long today, sorry about that, but what is your headline at the end of Game 6? Anthony.
I think it'll be Sorokin, Pajot help move Islanders to second round against the Bruins. I think Pager's been good all series. He's doing the little things. He's helping out with Crosby. He's generating chances with his line. Wallstrom got hurt last game. Hopefully he's okay. Apparently Staples said it looked worse than it really is, but I don't know what his status is for tomorrow. But anyway, I think Pajot's going to have a big game. He seems to be a big game player. He's shown over his course with Ottawa and even with the Islanders in the bubble last year, even this year where he tied the game in Game 1. And then I think Sorokin's in the Penguins' heads. I mean, it says he's 3-0. He's got a 1.66 goals against and a 9.51 save percentage. He's on fire right now, and I think Pittsburgh's frustrated right now by him. They're probably going to be second guessing, trying to place that perfect shot to beat him. And sometimes when that happens, you know what the results are. So, Ilya's feeling good. I think he's going to shut the door on them. So,
what's your headline?
The future is now. It's all about Sorokin.
Okay, and I'm going to go, the barn was a rockin', Pittsburgh didn't come knocking. So, and just to clarify something, I had people talking about this the other day. Game 3, because, of course, the least knowledgeable 4-time Stanley Cup winner couldn't figure out why Sidney Crosby was out of the box when he was. And the reason why is because the captain can designate how the penalties are going to go, what order they're going to go in. So when Beuvillier scored on the power play, I believe that's when Crosby got out. So that's a rule maybe he didn't know in his time, but that's why, because they kept saying for a couple times, oh, why is Crosby out of there? Okay, well, that's the reason why. And if I'm Sidney Crosby, my penalty goes off first because I'm more important to this hockey club. All right, what are your thoughts on the Islanders and the Penguins? Are the Penguins going to extend it to 7? Can they win this series? Are they going to win this series? Or are the Islanders just going to close it on out at the Garden? Jesus, at the old barn. Ugh, I still can't say it. I had trouble saying it. Anyway, we want to know your thoughts. Put all the comments down below and stay with us because we're going to do honest press conferences that the players wish they could say the things that we were saying.
Did you like that video? Of course you did. So why not check out some more of our content? You can check the playlist right here or right here.
Your ideas are intriguing to me, and I wish to subscribe to your newsletter.